I guess this one's going to be about wrestling because Saturday night, as anybody who's a fan of the sport knows, that all AEW, All Elite Wrestling, or whatever the hell it's called, I'm just jerking around here, that made its pay-per-view debut last Saturday. Of course, I'm not spending whatever that absorbent price was for the pay-per-view because I simply don't have it, but they did have a pre-show. And I was interested in the pre-show because they were having a women's battle royal. And Rowdy Roddy Piper's daughter, Teal, was one of the entrants. But what really made me pop big time, almost out of my chair, was the fact that they had a, quote, Joker coming in as the last entrance to the battle royal. And when that Joker unmasked, it was Mercedes Martinez, former WSU world champ for a lot of years. I'm going to skip over the part right now of how I got involved with this whole wrestling thing. But what happened was I was helping out working security for a couple of smaller promotions run by friends of mine. The guy who used to run the Declaration of Independence.net, a wrestling website covering independent wrestling, Sean the Mick McCafferty, asked me if I wanted to work security for this new promotion he was putting together, WSU Women's Superstars Uncensored. It used to be Wrestling Superstars Uncensored. It was started by another promoter who basically dropped the ball. And when he dropped the ball, I think it was on the all-women's card that he put together. So the Mick picked it up and booked it and liked what he saw. Saw the girls that were really working their asses off and wanted to start something, you know, new. Women's Superstars Uncensored. So what happened was he got a hold of me and asked me if I wanted to work security. And I'm like, dude, women's wrestling, is this going to be like the WWE crap, you know, lingerie matches, pillow fights, bullshit like that? Because if it is, I'm really not into that. And he goes, no, it's going to be real wrestling. These chicks are really cool. Why don't you work one card for me and see what happens? So I agreed. We wound up at Gino Caruso's wrestling school in Lake Hiawatha, New Jersey. And my deal was, not that these girls needed security, because pretty much, and it's been admitted by me and them too, that they could pretty much kick my ass all over the building, which is a given. But the first match was Angel Orsini versus Primetime Amy Lee. And Angel was in ECW. Amy wrestled all over the East Coast, and both of these women could kick major ass. So my whole thing during their match was just to stay the fuck out of their way, and they just beat each other's brains out. So the whole card was pretty cool, and I believe that was the card where Mercedes came back to WSU. I formed a bunch of friendships with the girls there, most notably Amy Lee, because we're both pretty fucking crazy. And Amy's husband, Artie Palmer, used to be one of the job guys for the WWF before Vince took it over. So I chat with him now and then. So what happened was Mercedes was probably one of the most technically gifted women wrestlers that I had ever seen. She was trained by Jason Knight, also of ECW up in Connecticut. And she became our world champ. And the thing was, there was a lot of memorable stuff done in WSU, but unfortunately, we had issues with other promotions who basically didn't like what was going on and did all they could do to fuck us. Fucky number one was that somebody passed out fake flyers around Lake Hiawatha, where Gino's school was, that we were going to have some kind of weird-ass, no-rope, barbed wire, broken glass match, which was something we would never fucking do. So the town put heat on Gino, and Gino had his own little thing going on there with his school and stuff, so we had to find another venue. We wound up in the Darnest Theater in Boonton, New Jersey, where a lot of these really, really great matches took place in this rundown theater, which was cool because a lot of the action spilled out of the ring, especially when you had Amy, Angel Orsini, and others. But the thing was that the Mick and Ray Sager, who used to book for Jersey All Pro Wrestling, let the girls basically put together the matches they wanted to put together. In other words, these girls could do anything the men could do. We had a cage match, we had a Falls Count Anywhere in the Building match, we had a bull rope match, and the classic was when Angel Orsini and Mercedes wrestled for the title in an Iron Woman match that went 67 minutes straight before there was a pinfall. And I don't mean any rest holds, I don't mean any stopping. They wrestled all over the building for 67 minutes straight. It was always trading the belt back for a while between Mercedes and Angel. You know, outside of the ring, they were all everybody's friends outside of the ring. Quickly put, you know, people remember Bruno Sammartino in the 70s. You know, basically Mercedes was our Bruno. I mean, you know, we weren't going to let her lose the belt. She'd keep the belt as long as she wanted to. She was a huge asset to the business, and she actually wrestled another Iron Woman's match with a new up-and-comer that went over 80 minutes. So the woman was extremely talented, extremely gifted, and I don't know what happened after WSU because she relinquished the title. Sean had gotten burnt out by the whole thing with some of the bullshit going on with other promotions and things, and Ray had a day job, so pretty much the promotion was sold to somebody and it moved out to Long Island, which was honestly too far for me to go. And Amy was pretty much winding down her stint, and she just became the on-air commissioner. And then, you know, the whole, like I said, the whole Long Island thing, she pretty much hung it up then, but was still doing indie shows. I mean, she did retire once. I mean, everybody retires once. She retired, she got in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, but then came back to work for Matt Tremont's H2O Wrestling Productions down in South Jersey. Amy turned 50 this year and retired, and her bucket list match was against lowlife Louis Ramos in a death match, where both of them bled buckets. I still keep in touch with Amy. Amy's a good friend, great person, and she should write a book. But going back to Saturday night, if AEW does not sign Mercedes, just based on the pop that she got in the in-ring work that she did while she was there, they're fucking crazy. Mercedes is probably one of the world's best women wrestlers and probably one of the least known because I don't think she's ever been given a break in a major promotion. AEW should stand up and take notice of her because not only is she a great wrestler, she's a veteran and she can probably help the younger girls with their mat work and their promos. So again, Saturday night, it was just great to see someone I worked with back in the day and who was basically a mainstay in WSU get a big break and be on a pay-per-view for a change. So, Mercedes Martinez, my friend, I wish you the best. I hope they pick you up, and I hope your career continues to be successful. Okay, now I got to segue into something I have to address. I was in New York on 9/11. I was still working for New York City Liquidators on 9/11. So basically, I was in the city because we opened at 7:30, and being that I was usually on the phone, you know, selling stuff to stores and chains and whatever, I really didn't have shit to do until 10 o'clock. I mean, I'd putter around, see what we got new, see what we got to do, straighten out a bit, and then we were stealing cable from somebody upstairs in the building. And if we weren't stealing cable, we were watching, you know, shitty movies we just pulled from the front of the store. Well, I'm sitting back there, and all of a sudden I see the World Trade Center on the screen. I see smoke coming out of a huge hole in it, and I see a plane crash into the second tower. And I'm like, where the fuck did you guys find this movie? Then all of a sudden the bookkeeper comes crashing out of the back room screaming, we're under attack. And we were. I'm not going to say I was a brave guy, because I'm not. Everything was shut down in the city, being that the towers came, you know, were fucked up. The cell phone tower was attached to that, I believe, and you couldn't get any cell phones to work. I had my family, my girlfriend, my friends calling me on the landline, telling me I had to get out. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, but then there was all fear factors floating around that basically there was another plane headed in to take out the Empire State Building. Had that happened, I probably wouldn't be here shooting this video because we were too close and we would have been killed. The strange thing and conspiracy theories are all out there, but in my estimation, the towers went down like a controlled demolition. There's all kinds of shit floating around. The bottom line was, this was my generation's Pearl Harbor. We all stayed pat in the store until about 3 o'clock. Norman was in bad health and wanted to go home, got his driver to take him home because where he was going it wasn't closed off. I was with 2 other guys that lived in New Jersey. So we decided to go to the Pat station, which was closed. Well, one guy was adamant he was staying there until it opened. I'm like, well, okay, fuck that. I'm not. I'm going to Port Authority and trying to get out. So the other guy, Tony, went with me. We go to Port Authority, and Port Authority is barricaded. All right, what do you want to do next? I said, let's go to a bar and get a drink right now. So we went to the bar and had a couple shots to calm us down. Now, bear in mind, no one was really panicking, and we were about 2 miles from ground zero. So now we're weighing our options because it doesn't look like anybody's getting in or out of here. So I said, well, what we can do is go to Penn Station, see if anything's running out of there, and if that ain't the case, go back to the store, get in and barricade ourselves in and hope for the best. But we go to Penn Station, we caught the last train out of Newark. Out to Newark, rather. All right? We got to Penn Station in Newark, and it was like a combat zone. There were tanks, there were jeeps, there were National Guardsmen all over the place. Now, Newark is one place you really don't want to be when the sun goes down. And we're roaming around trying to find a cab that'll take us out, and it's getting, a little bit creepy now. So finally we find a cab. All right, I said, this is what you do. Take me to Lyndhurst, I'll drive him home. Well, we get out on Route 3. Route 3 East going toward where I had to go is barricaded by the Clifton cops. This guy starts going to Route 3 West, and I go, wait a minute, I can't get out of here from here. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? I said, let me out. He goes, what do you mean? I said, let me the fuck out. I'll walk back. So I pretty much walked the 5 miles back to Lyndhurst and still have the boots to prove it. I didn't go back to work the next day where everybody else did because I had family, I had friends, I had a girlfriend who was living in North Jersey. Everybody wanted to make sure I was all right, and the whole thing was, well, your job is non-essential. I sell porn, I guess it's non-essential, but the whole thing was, I'm going back anyway because I don't give a fuck. No scumbag terrorist or anybody else is going to tell me what the fuck to do. So I went back. Now, the thing is, this was all done by Saudis. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can point the finger wherever you want to do it. The bottom line, this was done by Saudis, and we, for some reason, suck these people's dicks. I don't know why. They're the ones that attacked us. They're the ones that support all this terrorism shit, yet we suck their dicks. I don't understand this shit. And as far as Donald Trump being there at 9/11, no, Donald Trump was twittering somewhere that now that the World Trade Center fell down, he's got the tallest building in Manhattan. Fuck you, you piece of shit. And the other piece of shit, Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, was Johnny on the spot for one simple reason. His office was in the towers and he was told to move it. So basically, they blew his office up so he had nowhere to go. This still affects me deeply, and unfortunately I wound up with delayed PSTD from this crap because, a lot of things happened in my life before and after that, and they all compartmentalized and fucked me up today. I really feel that this had something to do with my friend Norman passing away because the stress of running a business after 9/11 in New York when they kept running these, elevated terror alerts and shit like that. Well, I was doing fine on the phone selling shit till we had an elevated terror alert. Then the phones would drop dead. So pretty much, they were killing business. And unfortunately, everybody I was with on that day is no longer with us, and it kind of sucks. And I only have one thing to say in closing this. I will never forget that day. I will never forget the friends I was with and the friends I lost. And as far as Saudi Arabia and the politicians who enable that country and kiss their fucking ass, fuck you, okay? This was our generation's version, I said, of Pearl Harbor, and I don't forgive and I never forget. So Saudi Arabia again, fuck you.